Hello everyone, this is Dmitry Lipinski. Welcome back to Roofing Insights channel. I have a very special guest here, Steve Patrick. Thanks man for finding time to talk to us.
Of course.
So we're going to talk about who this guy is, why he has a huge target on his back, who hates this man and what he does. But first we're going to start with his story and his background, how he became all he is today. So
I was born in Austin, Texas, and was raised there, lived there until about 20 years ago. And so as a young man, I became a firefighter, and I rose through the ranks as a firefighter up to becoming a lieutenant. And then I became a paramedic, and I worked on the ambulance for about 5 years. And then I became a police officer, and I worked as a police officer.
Hold on. You've been paramedic, you've been firefighter, and police officer.
Yes.
All three.
In my 20s.
Hold on. Paramedic, firefighter, and police officer. Yes. I've never met a person who've done all three.
Yeah, in my 20s.
Wow. What else? All right, keep going.
So then in my 20s, I decided I wanted to be rich, because you can't be rich.
Hold on. This is just, I'm still thinking about it. How do you go from firefighter to police? Like, how like you didn't like to be firefighter? Guide me there.
Actually, as a firefighter, I became a paramedic.
Okay.
And then after a few years, I decided to switch over to working on the ambulance full time.
Okay.
And I did that for 5 years. And then I decided I wanted to be a police officer, and I did that for a couple of years.
So what made the switch? Was it just like?
It's just that I was kind of doing it part time, and I liked it, so I decided to, I become bored easily.
I see.
I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie.
I see.
And so.
How long have you been a police officer?
This is 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All that in Austin.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's next?
And so then I went into sales.
Okay.
Decided
Selling
I wanted to be wealthy. And so, what was the first thing I sold? I think the first thing I sold was, like a family package that helps people get a will, last will and testament, and a whole bunch of things that help families save money.
Like insurance type of deal?
Yeah, it's an insurance package thing that they can buy for like $1,000, and it had all these benefits. It's a benefit package.
Okay. What's
next? First thing I ever sold. And then A.O. Williams, which was a multi-level marketing company that was like selling insurance, multi-level marketing, and I did that for a while. And then I did multi-level marketing on a company called NSA, selling water filters. That was the first one that I was very successful at. I mean, I had 3 offices in Texas, and that was fun. I enjoyed doing that. That's where I learned public speaking, was working there. And,
next.
But I didn't speak at audiences like this size. I mean, just like in front of 100 people or something like that.
Sure.
So, but I really got to where I like doing that.
Okay.
The public speaking, and that's how I learned public speaking.
Okay. What's next?
Just some odd, jobs doing different things, sales.
How did you end up being like adjuster or like insurance side?
So I moved to Dallas 20 years ago.
Okay.
Actually, Halloween Day, 20 and a half years ago. At the time, I was selling these credit card machines. You swipe your card, and you get a percentage off of every single charge that a consumer swipes the card. You get a cut.
Okay.
And it was a really great residual business. Things were going well. I was selling them left and right, making nice residual. And then all of a sudden, the bank sold out to another bank.
Okay.
And they said, your residual is cut. You lose all your residuals and all those customers. You have to start all over again.
Okay.
And I got to thinking, what would stop them from doing that to the next bank? And one of the last customers I had sold was a construction company. And he says, no, I don't need a swipe machine to take credit cards. And 30 minutes later, he bought 2. And he said, wow, you're a good salesman. I want you to come and sell construction for me. I said, no, because I have the residuals coming off the credit card machine. I'm not interested. And then when the bank sold out, I went back to him and I said, is that deal still on the table? So I worked for that guy selling roofs and other types of construction. I worked for him for about a year, and it turns out that the guy was a consummate liar and a con man, and he was always constantly lying to my clients. And so I got tired of it, so I started my own company. And I knew by then that to get the general contractor's overhead and profit, you need to be a general contractor. So I started Steve Patrick General Contracting. And I did that for about 5 years. And I'd gotten my adjuster's license so that when I met adjusters, I could pull it out and show it to them, say, look, I'm an adjuster too. And sometimes some of the borderline roofs, I could get them bought because I was a licensed adjuster as well. So originally getting my adjuster's license wasn't because I wanted to be an adjuster, it's because I wanted to get some of the borderline
Sure.
rip spot. Right?
Yep.
You know, you get a rapport going, and you know, it's just like when an accountant meets another accountant, they go, "Ah, you're an accountant." Same kind of thing. And so I did that for a while, and then things got really slow. About 15 years ago in Dallas, there hadn't been any hailstorms or windstorms in like 2 years, which is very unusual for Dallas. And all of a sudden, there was 3 hurricanes that hit Florida, one right after the other, in one year, the same fall. And there were so many claims that they couldn't hire enough adjusters. So me and a buddy of mine, who had my business partner in our construction business, we went down there because there was no work to be done in Dallas. We worked Hurricane Ivan. I think it was Ivan, Gene, and Charlie is the 3 that hit that year.
Wow.
And we were Hurricane Ivan, and I did very well. I mean, spectacularly well. I already knew how to scope property losses. The only thing I didn't know how to do as an adjuster is how to use the software, which was the IntegraClaim software at the time.
Okay.
After that storm, the next year I worked Hurricane Wilma, and the next year I worked Hurricane Katrina. By then I'm doing field training. I'm field training other adjusters how to scope property losses and that sort of thing. And I realized at the time how adjusters were very poor at scoping property losses. And so at the end of Katrina, after working 9 months doing both wind and flood claims, I started my own school. Called it the CIA Training Academy. CIA standing for Catastrophe Insurance Adjuster. And so I started doing, it was a licensing and claims adjuster licensing and training school. And so I didn't have a curriculum, so I wrote my own curriculum. I wrote 4 books that served as our curriculum for claims adjusters. And
How many people did you train?
Hundreds and hundreds over the years.
Okay.
And, I mean, there were some times that I would have classes as big as 50 or 75 people at one time.